Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are diving into a performance benchmark comparison between two powerful NodeJS backend frameworks, NestJS and AdonisJS. Today I will run some performance tests to determine which one is faster and more efficient. NestJS is one of the most popular frameworks for Node.js, renowned for its modular, scalable architecture and its TypeScript-first approach. Built on top of Express, or optionally Fastify for enhanced performance, NestJS incorporates principles from Angular, like dependency injection, strong typing, and decorators, making it easy to create structured, reusable, and testable code, with native support for microservices, GraphQL, and WebSockets, as well as extensive integrations. NestJS is widely used for developing REST API, real-time applications, and scalable microservice architectures. For benchmarking, I used the latest NestJS version 10.4 with Fastify to maximize performance. For database integrations, TypeORM was chosen as its most popular ORM option for NestJS. The application was deployed with the latest Node.js LTS version 22. AdonisJS is a great open-source Node.js framework, tailored for building scalable and efficient applications. Strongly inspired by Laravel framework, AdonisJS brings a structured MVC-based approach to the Node.js ecosystem, making tasks like routing, authentication, database operations, caching, and job queues straightforward and efficient. Known for its clean syntax and developer-friendly design, AdonisJS makes Node.js development more intuitive and enjoyable. Compared to NestJS, AdonisJS offers a more structured application template out of the box, along with, in my opinion, more comprehensive documentation, encouraging a consistent structure across applications built with the framework. A standout feature is its ORM, Lucid, which is modeled after Laravel's eloquent ORM. It enhances the developer experience for database interactions with SQL databases. However, AdonisJS feels somewhat more specialized, leaning towards REST API development due to its pre-configured REST-optimized structure and SQL-oriented ORM. For benchmarking, I used the latest AdonisJS version, 6, and deployed it on the latest LTS Node.js version, 22. I conducted two separate tests to compare these technologies across different scenarios, aiming to understand how each performs in varied use cases. The first scenario is a basic test, an API route that returns a hard-coded response. The second scenario is closer to a real-world application, where an API route retrieves a random selection of 30 elements from a PostgreSQL database. These tests will highlight how each framework handles simple versus more complex data-driven tasks. Now let's take a look at the code of both applications. Here is the code for AdonisJS app. First case and the second one. Here is the source code for NestJS app. First case and the second one. Now let's take a look into the database structure. I created pretty standard user tables with fields like ID, name, email, password, and some additional info columns and timestamps for records. Table has two indexes, ID as a primary key and unique index for email field. To test both applications simultaneously, I deployed them on the cloud using DigitalOcean, which offers a reasonable pricing model and all the necessary features for this setup. Each application server runs on the smallest available instance with one CPU and 512 MB of RAM, allowing us to see how much performance we can achieve with minimal resources. For the database server, I opted for a larger instance to ensure that its performance wouldn't become a bottleneck during testing. I used Prometheus and Grafana on my local machine to monitor and visualize the performance metrics. Let's finally begin with our first test. While both apps are idle, we can see that memory and CPU usage are less for the AdonisJS application. Let's wait for the test to start. Right from the start, we can see that CPU usage and latencies are bigger for AdonisJS application. At the same time, the memory usage is less for AdonisJS framework. Starting from 800 requests per second, the NestJS application begins to outperform in all metrics except memory usage. Starting from 2300 requests per second, the rate of increase in requests per second for the AdonisJS application slowed significantly, while the NestJS application continued to steadily improve in this metric. At this point, we are beginning to see both applications fail some requests, likely due to a timeout, which I set to 1 second. Additionally, the AdonisJS app is experiencing slightly more frequent request failures than the NestJS app. Let's wait for the test to complete to review the final results. As I can see, both applications have finally reached their peak performance and will soon begin to degrade. Finally, the test is finished. Let's review the results. So in this test we have a clear winner. It's NestJS framework, with much more requests per second, less average latency, less P99 latency, less CPU usage, but with a little bit more memory usage. Now let's proceed to our second test case with database select logic added to API route. Right from the start, we can see that CPU usage and latencies are bigger for AdonisJS application. At the same time, the memory usage is less for AdonisJS framework. But in this test, the difference is not so noticeable as in previous tests. Both apps are starting to reach their CPU limits at 300 requests per second for NestJS and 200 for AdonisJS. And now the performance starts to drop for both apps. Let's see if this is the final point and wait for their complete failure. Now AdonisJS performance degraded significantly and it fails a lot of requests. So let's keep watching on NestJS to see when it fails. Finally, the test is finished. Let's review the results. So in this test we have a clear winner. It's NestJS framework, with much more requests per second, less average latency, less P99 latency, less CPU usage, but with a little bit more memory usage. In the end, the results show a clear winner, NestJS. So if the performance is your top priority, then you should consider using NestJS over AdonisJS. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Let me know in the comments which framework do you prefer and if there are other benchmarks you would like to see. Also, feel free to check out my Patreon and other resources linked below to support the channel. Stay tuned for more insights on development and architecture. See you in the next video.